Okay. Okay. Good morning once again, Assistant Superintendent Janet George. Welcome to the Montagne Posée Commission of Inquiry. My name is Justice Alfred Mavetsengi. I'm the chairperson of the commission. You would know, I'm sure by now, the purpose of the commission is to establish the facts and the truth regarding what happened at Montagne Posée prison on 5 and 6 December, as well as the events that are directly connected with 5 and 6 December at Montagne Posée. Let me give this opportunity to fellow commissioners to introduce themselves.
I am okay with that. Victor.
Thank you, commissioners. On our extreme left is Ms. Chelsea Albest, who is the secretary for the commission, and I will ask her to administer the oath, and then we'll take your evidence from there.
Thank you, sir. Question that following another denomination.
You can lift up your right hand and repeat after me. I solemnly and sincerely affirm that the evidence I shall give to this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent, Ms. Janet George. So as we do for whenever we have a witness in front of us, we remind them of a few rules that we would like you to adhere to during your testimony. The first one is, and more important, is for you to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. It is a criminal offense to deliberately withhold information from the commission or to give the commission information that is false and misleading. The second rule that I would like to remind you is that you answer all questions as they are asked by the commissioners. The commissioners may ask you questions that look like or sound like a repetition. It does not matter. Your responsibility is to simply answer those questions to the best of your knowledge. Thirdly, I would like to also just remind you to conduct yourself with dignity and respect, including when you are naming or identifying other people in your testimony, but also as you interact with the commissioners. The commissioners have a duty to also treat you with respect and dignity as a witness. Then I would like to remind everyone in the room to refrain from disrupting the proceedings or acting in any way that makes it impossible or difficult for us to hear what the witness is saying, or in any conduct that distracts the witness from giving their evidence. So that includes making sure that your mobile phones are either completely switched off or they are on silent mode. Not vibration, but complete silent mode. And please, let's minimize movements around the room or in and out. Except that I understand that the media personnel might need to move and adjust their equipment. That is perfectly fine, and the security is permitted to move as and when it is necessary. But everyone else, I think we should minimize moving around. So what we are going to do, Assistant Superintendent Ms. Janet George, is we are going to take turns to ask you questions. I will hand you over to Commissioner Vidot on my right, and then we will take it from there. how would you want to answer? Which language would you be able to answer the questions in?
I will answer in Creole.
In Creole.
But there will come a time maybe the English will come, but
Okay.
I will answer in Creole.
Okay, so if you answer in Creole or you communicate in Creole in any way, please give the interpreter sitting on your right the opportunity to interpret so that we can hear what you say, and avoid speaking over him.
Yes, this I know.
Yes. Okay, that's fine. So I think let's get started. Commissioner Vidot, you may.
Sir, before we start, I will have documents that maybe I will, if you can give me time for me to be able to have a look before I give you the right answer. Because maybe if there's anything that I have to refer, so I have to refer from my document, I just need ample time for me to do that.
Whenever you need to do so,
Yes.
Please indicate, and we
Yes.
will give you time to do so. It's not the whole day, right?
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you will be given reasonable time to look
Yes.
and consult the documents. What we will not allow you to do is to, when you are answering the questions, to read.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. But if you are reading an official document, that is fine. But we want the responses to be your responses.
Yes, sure.
Okay, that is fine.
Thank you,
Ms.
sir.
Jeanette George.
Just wondering if you have official document that maybe would be helpful to the Commission as well. Maybe such documents should be handed to the Commission.
It's depend.
Pardon?
It's depend.
It depends?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. I'm correct to say that before you joined you were appointed CP of the prisons. You were a police officer.
Yes, sir. Right.
Okay. And at the time, I could be wrong, you tell me, for about 6 months you were seconded to be at the prison.
Correct, sir.
Okay. And after 6 months you were appointed CP.
Just let make it clear. I joined as second man, police, to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Not Foreign Affairs, Internal Affairs. No, yes,
It is internal.
Minister Fonseca. From the 5th of February until the 22nd of July. On the 23rd, I was appointed. So it's like 5 months.
Okay. And I'll be right in saying that at the time that you were at the prison before your appointment, and I believe even now, there was a problem with discipline at the prison.
Correct, sir.
Okay. And will I be correct in saying that one of the reasons for your appointment was because you are a disciplinarian? You want to instill discipline wherever job you are in.
Now I can go in Creole, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. Raison qui Montagne as a liaison officer seconded from the police to the prison is tu n'as pas sa communication.
The reason why I was appointed as a liaison officer seconded from the police to the ministry was firstly because there was not there was no communication
Entre la police avec prison.
between the police and the prison.
So, moi, je suis dit, mon qui tu viens devant. Ok, moi, tu as choisi pour travailler en lien avec la police, avec prison. Code de système communication, tu es capable de joindre pour nous capable faire changement de prison à cause de la bonne vocable, kaki.
So I was the person that was selected for me to be the liaising individual between the prison and the police so that we can effect change.
La police n'a ban cas pertinent qui rapporte qui prison rapporte et je participe gagner beaucoup feedback.
And the police had a lot of pertinent matters that had been reported and was not getting feedback.
Et prison aussi, l'État a besoin de l'aide de la police tout le maximum. Je parti Comme si tu n'as pas ça lien, côté ça système communication qui peut flow.
And the prison also, when they needed the help of the police to the maximum, there was not this liaison, the good liaison between them to be able to gain assistance.
Et là, mon petit ça dit mon qui ti gay metté là pour nous faire ça même quelque chose assez. Et at the same time.
And I was that person that was appointed in that position to be able to make things work, and at the same time.
Moi, je travaille en lien avec former commissioner Saint-Ange.
I was working in liaison with the former commissioner Saint-Ange.
Pour nous guetter qui nous capable faire ça des bouts de joindre.
For us to be able to see how we can make the two ends meet.
But you didn't answer my question, 1 minute, Mr. Georges, because my question was, do you believe that one of the reasons why you were appointed CP is because you are a disciplinarian? You want to instill discipline in whatever job that you undertake?
Possiblement, oui.
Possibly, yes.
And I mean, I agree with you. I too is a proponent of discipline in workplaces. But for there to be respect, to be discipline, you will agree with me, there is need to be respect.
Répète your question, please.
Okay. For there to be discipline, if you want to instill discipline, there is need to be respect as well.
Definitely.
Okay. And in the case of the prison, I believe, like in any workplace, discipline should come from the top and trigger down to subordinates, and like in the prison, and then having the prisoners, because to the prisoners.
Totally right, sir.
Okay. Because you will agree with me, if the prisoners notice that the top management is not disciplined, it's difficult to instill that discipline in the prisoners. Okay. And you will agree with me as well that it is also necessary that one is honest. For you to be able to instill discipline, one is honest.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Like you wouldn't want one of your officers to come to you with fabrications, and so that you act on wrong information or anything of that nature.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after you were appointed CP, you started work at the prison.
Yes,
and
sir.
One of your main tasks was to instill discipline.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I believe you met with some resistance.
Quantité résistance.
A lot of resistance.
Okay. Just tell us what kind of resistance that you saw.
Si nous pour commencer, nous allons commencer le staff lui-même.
For starters, let us start with the staff.
À commencer dans deux groupes de monde, moi je peux travailler avec.
Because I had two groups of individuals that I was working with.
Civilians avec ban staff.
Civilians and staffs.
Qui mettent l'uniforme prison, qui appelle prison officer.
That wears the prison uniform and they are called the prison officers.
Deuxième groupe de monde, moi je suis dans prisonnier lui-même avec ban remand.
The second group of people, I had the prisoners themselves and the remandees.
Le commencement l'étant, moi je là, moi je observe quantité quelque chose.
At the beginning, when I was there, I observed a lot of things.
Par exemple, les officiers qui viennent travailler tard.
Officers came to work late.
Les officiers qui n'ont pas respect entre les officiers.
Officers had no respect amongst themselves.
Les officiers pas mettre uniforme pour me differentiate lesquels qui officiers lesquels qui prisonniers.
Officers did not wear uniforms for me to be able to differentiate between officers and prisoners.
Et il y a encore les autres quelque chose au niveau sécurité prison.
And there were other things on the level of the security of the prison itself.
Par exemple, il y a des officiers qui utilisent l'entrée de prison.
For example, there were officers that just entered inside the prison.
Parti pe gagne fouillé, parti laisse gagne fouillé.
and they were not being searched or allowed to get searched.
Et il y a des officiers qui like insulté camarades et chain of command participer fonctionne de sa façon que c'était devait fonctionner.
And there were officers that were insulting each other, and the chain of command was not functioning the way it was supposed to.
Le côté prisonnier lui-même,
With regards to the prisoners,
il y en a différents qualités de groupes prisonniers.
there are different types of prisoners, groups of prisoners.
Il y en a un groupe prisonnier qui humble,
There are-
service à mot,
The groups that I will use the word humble,
very respective. Et il y en a prisonniers qui m'ont dit dramatique.
and there are prisoners that I would say they are dramatic.
Il y en a gangs qui étaient difficiles pour nous mettre contrôle ou bien dans contrôle là.
There were gangs that were difficult for us to get them under control.
Il y en a manipulateurs.
There were manipulators.
Il y en a prisonniers qui peuvent vivre par l'esclave de prison.
There were prisoners that was living like slaves in the prison,
Et plus encore.
and many more.
Oh, okay. And you will agree with me that maybe one of the reasons that contributed to that lack of discipline was the fact that the prison, which was built many years back, didn't suit or was not conducive for modern days.
Possiblement oui, mais seulement il fait mon imaginer quelque chose.
Possibly yes, but this has me thinking of something.
Longtemps dans la cour, il y a un rideau qui est capable de faire nous en discipline pour nous maman avec nous papa.
Before that, at our home, there was only a curtain that would make us have that respect that we should for our mother.
Discipline et fondation.
1 minute. You understood that? Okay, because I know he
It's
didn't
a figure of
understand.
speech.
He didn't
Yes.
understand when they say a curtain, because I believe you can correct me if I'm wrong. What he's saying, like in the past, sometimes because people were poor,
Okay.
they only had one curtain, which separated the rooms. That's what she meant.
Okay. No, that's fine.
Et mon quoi pour dire si fondation prison tu gars fait 2006 et tout ça ban commissionnaire qui passé il est capable continuellement inculter discipline avec respect no matter what qui met sa prison était si pour la discipline de prison.
And I believe that if the foundation of the prison was laid in 2006 and all the commissioners that came after that instilled discipline, discipline would remain in prison.
Et ça l'étant là 2006
And that time in 2006,
il y a 129 prisonniers qui ont transfert.
there was
Montagne Posée.
129 prisoners that were transferred to Montagne Posée.
Et mon imagine ça bonne prison il y a l'état là qui a contrôlé.
And I recall during those times that these prisoners, we were able to control them.
Et que révolution la vie nous a pour dire mon supérieur en prison qui est dans 600 almost 600 inmates.
With the evolution of life, I found out that I was running a prison that had 500 inmates.
Et la vie pas si facile.
And life was not easy,
Si tous les temps on a gangs de prison
especially when we have gangs in prison.
et on a prisonniers qui n'a pas respect total pour aucun senior officers de uniforme.
And we have prisoners that has complete no respect at all for the senior officers.
And also, what I believe what could have aggravated the situation is because now you have crimes which is more complex, and prisoners sometimes you have a lot of prisoners serving long time in prison. Is that one of the causes why there was no discipline?
Ça est capable de caractère à cause
That might be a factor because
il y a ça bonne prisonniers qui n'a plus l'état de prison.
these prisoners that has spend more time in prison.
Zot même zot qui ban manipulateur.
They are the manipulators.
Après zot stand behind bars comme si pas zot qui ne fait rien.
And then they stand behind the bars like as if they did not do anything.
Ça y est facteur.
And that's
un
a
gros
factor.
facteur qui moi personnellement m'ont observé.
A big factor that I personally observe.
And the fact also that you have remanders at the Montagne Posée prison is another factor.
Yes, sir.
And you do realize that remanders should not be kept together with prisoners.
You're totally right, sir.
Yeah.
Mais mon question, la réponse pour ça.
But I have an answer for that.
Bon, pas imaginer si former commissioner Victor qui l'a rabané dans les remand center qui ouvert 2017.
I do not recall if it was the former Commissioner Victor who was there.
Et ça tient pas qui pour montrer pour dire prison, il y en a droit qui pas supposé faire mettre convict ensemble avec remand, mais c'est moi il y a une capacité 80, mais c'est moi au get human rights si interfere.
And that was when the remand center was opened back in 2017, and this was a step taken to see that we did not have the in terms of capacity, that the limit was 80 as per the human rights.
Mais seulement il n'est pas idéal pour nous mettre 80 prisonniers dans un remand center qui s'est construit en 2016-2017.
But it was not ideal for us to put 80 prisoners in a remand facility that was constructed in 2016-17.
À cause ici c'est petit, après il y en a des exit.
Because it is quite small and there's one exit.
You want to?
Good morning, CP.
Morning,
George.
sir.
Yeah, you were right in what you just said. I mean, if I can answer this one, you were right because we even voiced the problem at that time. But anyway, just to ask you, did you attend stakeholders meetings at the court here with the judges with regards to the
It's called a criminal stakeholders meeting.
criminal stakeholders meeting? Did you attend the meetings here at the Supreme Court here?
You are right, sir.
You did.
Yes.
Okay. Did you bring forth those problems that you were facing with relevance to people being sent to you, and you had no space to put them?
Mon toko vocal dans l'explication et mon toko mettre ça ban point devant et mon quoi il y en a le ban minutes ça stakeholders meeting qui nous t'y fait. C'est sa raison qui mon quoi après il y en a ça Perseverance Remand Center qui t'y construit juste pour ease the pain à cause nous because ou les temps imagine tu as 50 remandis après tu peux cher un peu dans la station la police mais là nous peut cause mon l'état c'est dans 130 remandis qui est beaucoup mais ça même ça qui nous peut continuellement la guerre pour nous capable en a bonne facilité pour nous capable mettre remandis.
Okay, so you are satisfied?
I have always been vocal in terms of my explanations and put these points forward, and I believe that that was the reason that we had the Perseverance Remand Center and that there are 50 remands to share amongst the police station, different police stations, but during my time there was about 130 remandees, and I believe that this was the reason that we had to keep on fighting for these sorts of things.
Yeah. So you are satisfied that things were being done as per your...
Définitivement. Et ça qui là, après moi aussi, besoin la guerre pour ça, à cause de mon noir de l'avenir, nous prenons plus remand.
Definitely, and the one that comes after me needs to keep on fighting for the same thing, because I can see that in the future we will have more remandees.
Would it be nice to say that we need to fight, or is it something that is normal that the authorities should understand the difficulties that the prison faces. We shouldn't be fighting. What do you think?
Moi, quoi, nous supposons continuer la guerre à cause si de ou l'état on cause quelque chose pas nous gagne faire et moi mon cause nous commençons à la clarté. Moi, quoi, nous besoin continuer m'appeler la guerre entouré for the sake of qui nous la loi dit the Prison Act.
I think that we need to keep on continuously fighting, because if during your time you spoke and nothing was done, and in my time I spoke and now I'm starting to see some light, then we need to keep on fighting.
Yeah, anyway, I can vouch that at a certain point in time, I've been attending the criminal stakeholders meeting.
Yes.
You did bring it forward, yeah. I can vouch for that. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. And you are guided by the Prison Act?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
And it is important also that you are aware of the Constitution.
Yes, sir.
Do you give training to officers in as to the rights of prisoners and duties that they have as prison officers?
Yes, sir. Mon pas envie de dire yes, mais envie expliquer tout.
I do not want to simply say yes, I want to explain as well.
L'état mon rentre de prison,
When
pour
I
travail,
entered inside the prison to work,
mon roi pour dire aujourd'hui ou vient dans civil pareil moi était là aujourd'hui.
I saw that today you come to work in a civilian attire like I am today wearing.
Et demain ou capable passer dans un uniforme prison.
Tomorrow you can be working in a uniform prison.
Ça casse moi ça hein.
This breaks me apart.
À cause casse moi,
Why?
à cause mon train to be a police officer.
Because I have been trained to be a police officer.
À cause prison officer qui est troisième la force en bas constitution.
Why is it that the prison officer, which is a third force under the Constitution,
Pas gagner sa training.
do not receive that training?
Et mon monde fait un must.
And I made it a must,
Que le monde continuellement demander qui training il fait.
whereby I kept on asking that training be done.
N'importe quelle qualité training qui m'ont senti idéal pour mon bon officier,
Any type of training that I felt it ideal for the officers,
from ethical to security training, ça m'ont fait
this
to the
I had
maximum.
done to the maximum.
Et mon records, quand c'était mon bon officier qui train,
And I have records how many of my officers have been trained.
et ça tient mon bon premier mandat as commissioner of prison at that time.
And that was one of my first mandates as the commissioner of prison at that time.
Qui mon bon officier il gagne train. Juste pour nous capable à sa level of discipline,
That my officers are trained just for us to be able to have that level of discipline
respect.
and respect.
Ou pas capable de discipline, ou soit respect si ou pas jamais train.
You cannot have discipline or respect if you have never trained.
Yeah. But despite you ensuring that the officers get the necessary training, did these officers put whatever they received in training into practice? Because I can tell you, I've seen officers around here, I don't believe they do.
Mon papa connaît, mais c'est when it comes to training, when il disparaît, on donne les chiens et les os. Il pas connaît quand pour venir avec sa morceau la viande nous là pour donner pour faire les plus happy. C'est ça moi continuellement autre façon pour moi capable les me donner training ou bien les me faire attend to training.
I would not know, but when it comes to training, it's just like, when you give a dog a bone, that dog in particular do not know what day would you come in with bones that have meat on it. So in that same sense,
Qui nous besoin faire continuation.
that's why I felt that in regards to the training, we have to make it on a continuous basis.
So moment si faire continuation. Quand faire continuation que nous participons assiser apprendre théorie et tout ça qu'ils ont apprendre nous besoin mettre en pratique.
So I did it on a continuous basis, whereby we were not just sitting down and learning theory, but we were also learning how to put it in practice, practical.
Et les autres montrent mon autres satisfaction. Il y en a, il fait, il y en a, il oublié, il y en a, il fait. Nous ne connaissons pas tout le monde qui apprend vitement. Il y en a, ils pensent son propre space pour les apprendre.
And they showed me their satisfaction. Some of them does it, some of them do not, some of them takes longer because, you know, not everyone learns fast. But, sorry, c'est la dernière book, s'il vous plaît, sur quoi répondre. Mais pas tout qui apprend même pareil, il y en a qui apprennent vitement, il y en a qui apprennent...
Il y en a, ils prennent le temps pour les finir apprendre.
Some of them takes their time for them to be able to complete their learning.
Donc, côté human rights, il y en a ces choses qu'on a fait avec ombudsman lui-même,
With regards to
Mr.
human
George
rights,
Roberts.
we have sessions that we have had with the ombudsman, Mr. George Roberts.
Et il couvert tout son 25 rights.
And
Et maman, tu comprends très bien.
and he covered all of the 25 rights, and all of the officers understood quite well.
Mais seulement, mon pas trop quoi, il y en a maman aussi qui tu peux comprendre à cause training en anglais. Nous connaissons bien pour dire Mr. George Roberts, il cause particulièrement anglais. Il pas cause créole. Ça y a une question qui nous vient demander, quel tuteur qu'il faut nous mener pour train nous ban maman, teach nous ban maman.
But I don't believe that all of them understood the session completely, considering the fact that Mr. Robert is a person that articulates mostly in English, and that is an issue for us to consider in the future in terms of knowing who we should have to give out those trainings, in particular in what language.
Et mon parti laisse tomber.
But I did not give up.
Moi, en amont, C.I. Luina,
I had C.I. Arena,
le prison, il est bon component.
which
Le
was
prison est capable d'en cesser.
at the prison, and that's a good component that the prison can have in Seychelles.
Là, il fait prison framework avec les autres, il couvert un peu. Ça va un instrument human rights.
When she did the prison framework with them, she covered a few aspects of the human rights.
Et encore, moi, j'ai fait police academy,
And again, I had the police academy,
couvert human rights, à cause d'un well-trained officers, le human rights, qui caporal balchit, moi, par contre, il a une 16 ans, qui couvert sa topic avec les autres aussi.
to cover the human rights aspect as well in the police academy, because we have well-trained officer on human rights. We have Corporal Bachid, who covered that aspects with them.
CP, I've seen that there was quite a fair amount of training programs
Yes, sir.
that was run at the prison.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, who was auditing what happened after the training in the daily duties at the prison? Did you keep records of the people auditing what was happening?
Yes, sir.
You have records.
Yes, sir.
Where can we find those records?
Si vous avez record training, ou
No,
capable...
record training we have.
Oui.
What
If
I'm
you
saying is to ensure that what they have learned are being followed.
Ou pour gagner tout ça, un document avec HR,
Okay.
We'll get
HR
all of-
office, Miss Diana Asba.
Okay.
Après, following up officer, les autres training, nous pour gagner CI Jerry Irani.
So you will get all of these documents from the HR office, Diana Asba, and following the training of the officers, CI, s'il vous plaît,
CI Jerry Irani.
Jerry Irani. You will get it from him.
À cause après, globally, whatever qu'ils ont apprendre, ils ont besoin de mettre des présentations pour les autres montrer qui les autres ont fait changement la prison.
And globally, whatever they had learned, they have to put it in a presentation to be able to show how they can effect the change in prison.
À cause prison, il pas un deal tout seul, solo.
Because prison is not something that exists on its own,
Moi, je ne dis pas qui micromanage.
and I am not a person that micromanages things.
Moi, je dis qui est content les autres travaillent.
I am someone that enjoys to let people work
Travaille tout le maximum.
to the maximum,
À cause je believe dans le résultat.
because I believe in results.
Et mon vie, ou même ou, demain, ou sentir pour dire, ça c'est mon plan, nous sommes capables d'arriver là, mais c'est mon pas pour qu'à dire nous faire ou tout seul, nous faire ensemble as a team.
I want you to feel that in the end you can say that that was my plan. I am able to reach where I am now, but also to say that we did that as a team, not by myself.
But what would be your response to officers who would say that whatever training that was given to them, some of them were not putting the training in practice, and sometimes some of them do not understand, and that affected the running of the prison?
Moi, c'est pas bon pour dire, le sabot quand nous avons une défaillance avec un officier, nous c'est nous mieux. Nous pas pour jamais quitter derrière.
I would say honestly that with regards to the fact that there is something with a particular officer, maybe he's falling behind, we will never leave that officer on his own to fall behind. We will always try.
Et mon pas imaginer pour dire moi dans officier qui train, je pas mettre quelque chose en pratique, mais c'est moi nous ca train dans la vie. Mais pareil, des circonstances, situation, il can faire oublier tout quelque chose. Ou bien
and I cannot recall having officers that have trained and not put it into practice, but there are certain times whereby in life you come across certain situations that can make you forget everything you've trained.
Ou soyez dans officier qui ou besoin continue follow up important avec les autres.
Or there are certain officers that you have to just keep on following up with them. It's very important.
Mais ça petit gain l'état qui m'ont fait la prison when it comes to training, moi assez satisfait mon capable dire.
But during the short period that I was at the prison, when it comes to training, I can say that I am quite satisfied.
And some officers also feel that because the way the prison was being managed, there were little groups, there were favored groups, and others who felt that they were not being looked after, and that caused conflict. What would be your response to that?
Depuis les gens viennent dans prison, il y a un groupe.
Since I came to the prison, there were groups.
Il y a un groupe qui a envie de travailler.
There were groups that wanted to work.
Il y a un groupe qui a envie de micromanage.
There was group that wanted to micromanage things.
Il y a un groupe qui pas envie de travailler.
And there were group that did not want to work.
Et nous appelons ça obtaining money by false pretense.
And we like to call that obtaining money by false pretenses. To pretend that they are working, but they are not actually working.
Surtout ban qui c'est middle management, mon capable dire, hein. Zoti very good lo sabot.
Especially the ones that was in the middle of management, I could say they were very good on that.
Et nous ban officiers plus bas, ils voient ça ban quelque chose. Zot aussi zot pas envie de travailler.
And our lower officers, when they see these things, they also do not want to work.
Et c'est ça raison qui moi suis pull in two ban units.
And that is why that I pulled in every unit.
Maintenance units.
The maintenance.
Record units.
Record units.
Security units.
And the security
escort units.
Escort units.
Avec management lui-même.
And the management itself.
Pour nous build up team bonding.
For us to build up the team bonding.
Moi, moi, ça dit mon qui vin shooter has moi shooter aussi. When it comes to police academy, moi shooter. So moi ça dit mon qui amène ça l'exercice team bonding qui nous besoin as a team because you only one fight là. One fight in prison.
So I was the individual that assisted and with the team bonding exercise, because on the level of the police academy also I am the person that they get to do this exercise. So I took it upon myself to do the team bonding, because there is what we have to realize is that there is us at the prison. We need to.
Et il y a beaucoup persistance.
There was a lot of persistence.
Et éclatant, moi tu vois les autres commencent à connecter.
It was in time that I started to see them connect.
À cause l'état qui nous commence activité avec 6 monde.
Because when we started the activities with 6 individuals, 6 people.
Moi dit mon qui have a positive spirit.
And I am someone that has a positive spirit.
Le dernier nous activité nous gagne plus que 110 monde.
During the last moments, our activities, we had more than 100 people.
And that was an
participating.
achievement.
And that was an achievement.
Okay. So, sorry, I'm sorry to take you back to the question on training. So you said you were satisfied with the training that you gave, and the training was on the human rights and on ethics. Am I correct?
Yes, many training.
Many trainings.
If you get records with the HR, you will have the list of all the training done.
Did you also train them? So I'm assuming you also trained them on the legal framework.
Legal
Their duties. As
legal
wardens.
framework was taken up by CI Luina.
Okay.
Yes.
And would you be satisfied that a good job was done there?
I will not be able to measure, but I satisfied.
You were satisfied.
Yeah, but I can say not 100%, but at least 75%.
And I'm just trying to understand the training on duties of prison wardens, because when you are talking about ethics and all these other things, they all come from the Prison Act, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So amongst the wardens or the guards that you trained, were they also leaders, like the leadership?
Yes.
The ones below you, of course, you were the ultimate leader, but
All of them.
okay, all of them. And Inspector Ivan is one of them.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And how would you? And you were satisfied that the training was very helpful for him.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. He came here and gave evidence, and it was clear that he did not have knowledge of some of the basic aspects of the Prison Act. And we asked him if he really went through the act and he understands it very well, and he eventually agreed that or considered that he did not know the Prison Act very well. Right. So I don't know what you might have to say about that, because he's a senior member of your team.
Ivan Nicola, in take up two training qu'il a à son disposition.
Concerning Ivan Nicola, he undertook every training at his disposition.
S'il dit qu'il n'a pas contre Prison Act,
If he says that he does not know the Prison Act,
pas ici.
it's not only him.
Tout, c'est pas contre Prison Act.
All of them do not know the Prison Act.
Je suis besoin d'apprendre, faire apprendre by base qui manière Prison Act fonctionne. À cause ici c'est pareil, il y a qu'à se regarder pour qu'on ait Canada Penal Code. This is normal.
We had to have them learn the basics about the Prison Act. It's just the same as the officers not knowing the penal code. It's
Mais
normal.
seulement gradually, là où le système, là où on a l'intérêt et là où on a un petit monde qui peut motiver ou pour besoin qu'on ait.
Gradually, when you are in the system, when you have the interest, when you have someone motivating you, you will, you must know.
Pas pour qu'on essaie de faire le framework, mais c'est ma les autres training qui gagne faire le security à cause li ici ça dit monde qui peut oversee security dans mon temps.
I do not know
oversee security avant qu'il gagne appointé pour lui take up sa poste.
about if whether or not he studied specifically about the framework, but with regards to security, since he was the individual that was responsible for security during my time before he was appointed to his other post.
I will come back to Inspector Ivan later, but let me also ask this question about so is it Inspector was he Inspector Tony Joe? He was.
He was a corporal.
Corporal.
Now he's a sergeant.
He's now a sergeant.
Yes.
So was Corporal Tony Joe part of the group you
Yes, sir.
trained?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, because we observed the same challenges there. And I think, let me clarify that they did not say we don't know the Prison Act, right? But they demonstrated that they don't know the basic elements of that law. But coming back again to what you said about security, that an officer like Inspector Ivan would know his job as a security manager. So what does that entail, security?
Bon, pas comprendre là.
Il peut demander en rapport avec son louvrage, comment les officiers de sécurité, qui responsable de sécurité, qui est impliqué dans sa louvrage, qui paraît Tony Joe, tu peux faire.
Son louvrage sécurité, apparemment, pas apparemment, qui type oversee sécurité, le behalf Inspector George, qui est tanzanien.
He was responsible for overseeing the security on behalf of Inspector George, who was a Tanzanian.
Mais après, il est entré de sa poste à cause Inspector George moved to custodial.
And then he filled in that post because Inspector George moved on to custodial.
When it comes to la sécurité prison, nous peut cause trois aspects.
When we talk about the security of the prison, we are talking about three aspects.
Nous peut cause procedural security.
Procedural security.
Nous peut cause physical security.
The physical security.
Après, nous peut cause dynamic security.
And then we talk about the dynamic security.
Et Ivan, inspector, avec Tony Joe, tous les deux ont attend to the class.
And Ivan and the Inspector Ivan and Mr. Tony Joe, both of them attended training to that effect.
Sorry to interrupt you. I think you answered part of what I needed. Where I'm heading to, Assistant Superintendent, is the relevance of the Prison Act to all this. Is it possible to separate the Prison Act from the security duties of a guard? Is it possible? I can put it in another way.
Yes.
Put my question in another way and say, if a prison guard in charge of security is not aware of the basic elements of the Prison Act, do you think that officer can do their job as a security officer very well?
Pour moi, il compte bien the basic Prison Act. Bon, pas connaître quoi qu'il fait, il est capable de dire à cause qu'il pas connaît, à cause où je peux faire sélection, mon pas faire tout seul et mon pas jamais faire sélection moi tout seul. Le management qui fait sélection et il tient nomini et il passe à travers beaucoup quelque chose avant qu'il gagne sa poste.
For me, I would not say that he does not know the basics of the act itself, because he went through the procedure of appointment because he was selected as a nominee, and I do not do this appointment by myself. I do it along with the management, and he was a nominee and he went through the necessary procedure before getting appointed to that post.
Okay, I'm not asking
Il fait bien son ouvrage.
He does well his job.
I'm not asking about whether he was supposed to be promoted or not. That's not my question.
No, I did not talk about promotion there.
The appointment you are talking about, I think it doesn't answer my question. My question is, if a guard, a prison guard, lacks the basic understanding of the Prisons Act, is it possible that that prison guard can be an effective an excellent prison guard in terms of making sure that the prison is secure.
Pour moi, il est effectif à cause de tu connais son Prison Act, tu connais. Mais quelque chose qu'on a pour faire avec Prison Act, il est à jour avec tu connais.
It was effective because he knew well his Prison Act and things that had to do with the Prison Act. He was up to date with it. He did it well. He was aware. Il peut demander par rapport avec Tony Joe, il peut demander en général un exemple. Si un officier il pas connaît un principe de base qu'on a de sa acte, est-ce qu'il d'après au point de vue quoi il peut performer son devoir?
Yes, il peut performer, il connaît lui.
Yes, he would perform. He knows.
He cannot say that he don't know. He's supposed to know. Et il connaît.
And he knows. Do you want me?
I don't believe you understand the question because he's not asking you in particular to one officer. Generally, if an officer has little or no knowledge in the Prison Act, would that officer be effective?
Oui, il n'est pas pour effectif à cause ça ils sont dans mes travail.
Yes, it would not. That officer would not be effective because this is his hand.
These are tools.
His tools for work. Yes.
Mais c'est moi, that's the reason qu'il est nous tu vois sa défaillance, nous tu push.
But that is one of the reasons why that when we saw that weakness, we pushed forward.
Et ça bandi monde, pas fait qu'entrer dans la prison, autres là depuis longtemps, il y en a 19 ans, il y en a 6 ans, 7 ans.
And these individuals.
Il y a un commissionnaire qui est avant mon pendant le training, ça y est question encore.
Has not just recently started working at the prison. They were there, some for 19 years, some for 6, 7 years. And the question that we should ask as well is whether or not the former commissioners that was before me gave them that particular training in that aspect.
Okay. Sorry, I'm taking a bit longer. Maybe let's talk a bit more about you and move away from the other wardens. Please because training is related to duties.
Yes.
So, yeah. So let's begin with your duties. What were your primary duties?
Now or when I was
at
commissioner?
When you were commissioner of prisons.
My primary duty say must be oversee prison lui-même.
I was overseeing the prison itself.
Et must be oversee l'opération.
The operation.
Et must be oversee pour dire tout le monde officiers working under my command. Il y a another right tools pour travailler avec.
To make sure that all my officers working under my command had the right tools to work with.
Et moi je travaille le budget pour nous capable survive.
I was working on the budget also for to be able to sustain us.
Des bonnes units qui n'a pas SOPs. Nous peux assiser, nous peux faire si pour dire SOPs il y a en l'existence.
In units that had no SOPs, I sat down and made sure that they had SOPs.
Il paraît moi tu commence from scratch.
It's as if that I started from scratch.
Mais c'est moi qui en a l'envie pour mon faire li à cause moi pas peux faire li pour n'importe qui, moi je peux faire li simplement pour ceci.
But I had the desire to do it because I was not just doing it for any individual, I was doing it for Seychelles.
So I hear you very well. So now I get the impression that this is, especially where you ended, to say we're doing this for Seychelles, not for any individual. So this is a big assignment. So your duties, they come from somewhere. Like, which law do they come from? Which law is the source for your powers, your authority?
Mon duty, si mon pouvoir, mon proposal, it will come from Prison Act. Like, si un commissionnaire il a appointé en bas section 4, bracket 3 dans Prison Act, avait dit nous duty aussi follow en bas section 4, qui dit nous quoi exactement que nous devons faire.
My duty pertains to the Prison Acts, Everything about my duty is detailed there, because if we are appointed under Section 4, Bracket 3 of the Prison Act, then the details of our duty as a commissioner should be there in the Prison Act.
What else?
Et il ordonne nous bien, il explique nous bien qui manière nous duty était.
And it explains well the details of our duty.
Because the administration of the prison itself.
It talks about the administration of the prison itself.
It's talk about orders, mais tout quelque chose, it's come from the ministers.
It talks about orders, but everything comes from the ministers.
C'est maman répond avec ministre.
But I answer to the minister.
That is perfectly fine. What else regulates your work? Your authority? Where else do you derive your powers, your authority, your duties? Is there anywhere else apart from the Prisons Act?
Prison Act, nous servons beaucoup Prison Act. Après, nous servons la Constitution, il y a des éléments qui lead nous, nous pour travail, et nous servons beaucoup Managerial rules aussi. Si nous pas dépend de ça, de la Prison Act.
We use a lot of the Prison Act, yes, but we also have the Constitution, which is an element also that provides the details of our job, that guides us. We also use the Mandela rules, so we do not only focus on the Prison Act.
Après, tous les officiers, ils ont un scheme of service, qui ont un role and responsibilities qui tombent en bas là.
And all officers have what we call a scheme of service that has all their roles and responsibilities.
So it's the Constitution, the Prisons Act, and is there anything else?
No, scheme of service. Qui a no role and responsibility en bas là.
We have a scheme of service that has our roles and responsibilities listed in it.
Do you have any regulations?
Nous avons une régulation datée depuis 2001. Ça aussi, tout un code conduite pour nous travailler en bas là.
We have a regulation dated 2001 that has a code of conduct for us to abide to.
Okay, so it would be dated 2001.
2001.
Yes. Okay. So we did some. I've got that document here. Written Prison Regulations 2001. Then we did some investigation and found that it is not law.
Yes.
So why are you calling them prisons regulations?
Et in line, il servait avec tout ça commissionnaire qui était là.
It was there, it was used by all the former commissioners.
À cause moi, je commence à travailler avec la loi, je peux demander si tu as draft, tu as approuvé, tu as ici, tu as là-bas. Après, je découvert pour dire oui, pas une loi, mais c'est moi qui utilise un draft. Mais c'est moi qui servi tout ça l'année.
Because me, before I use any law in particular, I inquire about it, whether or not it was drafted, if it was approved, and yes, even though it was not approved, it was only a draft, I learned that it was used by everyone before me.
Mais c'est moi qui fais procédure côté tout, tu as envoyé côté AG's office pour nous donner guidance là.
But I did the procedure that everything was sent to the AG's office for us to be able to receive guidance upon.
So you would agree with me that whether it's true or not, but the fact that a document is used continuously does not make it a law, right? So there can't be regulations. Because when you say regulations, okay, do you know what regulations are? What is your understanding of regulations?
Il y a une régulation, il y a une rules qui servent pour capable connaître pour rendre l'organisation.
It's
une régulation pareil, une régulation capable de offenses qui carton là. ou ka gagner ben offenses qu'on a pour faire avec prisonniers, avec les officiers prison et un des quelque chose ou ka gagner ben.
They contain rules that guides you about how to go about your job, and for example, some can contain even offenses that are associated with the prisoners and the prison guards, also the officers, and it contains a lot of rules and things along that line.
That is correct. So regulations are binding. They are rules. So would it be correct to then refer to this document, which is not made into law, not passed into law? Would it be correct to refer to it as regulations?
C'est ça qui peut arriver, c'est ça qui n'est arrivé et ça qui continue à arriver.
That is what had happened, that is what happened, and that is what is
I
continuously happening.
I hear you, Assistant Superintendent, but I'm saying, is it correct or not? I'm not saying did this happen or not. I know it happened. Even ourselves, we were given this document, and it has the appearance of regulation. So when you read it through, it looks like
but it's
law.
not correct.
Then we did the investigations and found out that it's not. So my question is it correct or not? It's not correct. Right. So if it is not correct, why do you refer it as regulations?
Il y a une question qui m'a pas pour demander à cause si vous pouvez répondre à sa question, mon quoi vous besoin de tout ça commissionnaire qui là nous tout répondre à sa question ensemble.
It's a question that I will not be able to give you the answer to, because if you would like the answer to that question, we'll have to get all of the former commissioners to come together for us to be able to answer that question.
I would do that if the mandate I have is to investigate all of them. In this case, we are investigating what happened on 5 and 6 December. So it's unfortunately limited to that for me. So I can't call the other ones.
But you can put it in your recommendation.
Correct, but before we get there, I will explain to you why I'm particularly concerned about regulations in a minute. So just work with me before we get to recommendations.
Yes.
And also I'm trying to also encourage you to maybe, as you engage, there's no need to be defensive, because at this point you are not being, it's not your fault if at all.
No, I'm not defensive. I'm not a defensive person.
Okay, that's good. So when you are training your guards, you have to get the law first in place. So I am wondering how then you can say we did a training which equipped the guards to know their duties very well and to know how to execute them very well, when you have these gaps in the law, right? I think that's why I brought this issue of the regulations, that it does not, it seems like without getting the law first in place, it is almost impossible to get a training that gets people to do their work properly and say we have been adequately equipped. Do you agree?
I agree, mais seulement les faits restent mon bon officier in training.
I agree, but the fact remains that my officers did undergo training.
À cause de besoin de training pour être capable de maintenir sa prison.
Because they needed training for them to be able to maintain that prison.
This is since 2009, right?
Yeah.
This is since 2001.
2001. Let's go back.
Who was there in 2001? Let us go back. You understand?
Mais c'est moi prend lui petit à petit, mon noir pour dire sa régulation, mon fait mon bout. À cause ça qui là avant, mon pas faire son bout.
But
mon ça draft là, mais c'est moi fait un bout, at least mon fait un bout.
did it step by step. There's the regulation, and you have to ask the one previously that was there during that time, what did he do, he or she did. And there's the draft, yes, but I did my part. I did my part.
So, did you request for regulations to be passed?
Nous avons fait procédure, nous avons envoyé côté office, and Mr. Tatchett was the one working on it.
We did the procedure and sent it to the AG's office. Mr. Tatchett was the one working on it.
When did you send it?
My time. L'état qui mon code prison.
During the time that I was at prison.
Early 2025 or later 2024, something like that.
Okay. And you do have written evidence to show that you requested?
Yes.
For regulations to be passed.
Sorti de l'office immediate effect, mon pour n'a pas, mais c'est everything capable lié avec CI Luina.
Since I moved out of office with immediate effect, everything you can get it with CI, the CI that she mentioned.
Luina.
And the request would have been you said late 2024, early 2025. I'm trying to get the...
Pas pour tout mazine, mais c'est from the time qui pour lier avec lui, il peut connaître quand the exact time qu'il t'a envoyé.
I would not really remember exactly, but when you will be liaising with her, she would know the exact time that it was sent.
Okay.
And I know the regulations are not part of the law until they are promulgated into law. But these regulations, they give you a good guide as to how to operate the prison.
Good.
Yeah. It is just unfortunate that it was not made into law.
Yes. Ça me demande mon question à cause. Comme si ça n'a pas tas affaires de prison, comme si ça dit mon qui travaille dans la régulation, comme si pour venir fort avec après ici tomber comme ça. Mon qui fait mal, mais seulement ça qui fait mal like pousser, à nous pousser d'avoir qu'à faire quelque chose.
Then it begs the question why, and because during those times, all this time long ago, there was not what we actually have now in the prison, and that person came out strong with that, but then did not follow through. So that's why I said that we need to keep on pushing.
I don't think I understood that.
Pardon?
I don't think
You
I
did not
understood
get
You didn't get it?
Yes, she said that that when that draft came on, that person had time to work on it. They only did the draft but did not follow through in terms of making it into a regulation, and that is why that she now believes that we need to keep on pushing towards that, because the person before did not do it.
Okay. CP, I would just like to ask you, what date were you appointed as Commissioner of Prisons?
On the 23rd of July, 2024.
23rd July, 2024.
Yes.
And could you tell us who appointed you? Yes.
The former president, Mr. Wevil Wankalawan.
Okay, so the former president, yeah? And could you just clarify to us who was your first line manager when you were carrying out your duties and responsibilities at the prison?
Minister Fonseca. Minister.
Okay.
Errol Fonseca.
Okay. Now, you spoke quite a lot, and you give a lot of examples, yeah, of shortcomings that you had to face when you were taking your responsibilities at the prison. You did mention quite a few of them. Did you bring forward all of those concerns to your minister?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What did he tell you?
Ministre Fonseca, il a dit mon qui si vocal avec sa forme CP avant. et il est au courant de ça ban issues qui peut arriver.
Minister Fonseca was someone that spoke well with the former CP before me, and he was aware of everything that was happening.
I don't believe she said he was very vocal. Doesn't mean that.
Il cause bien.
Oh, it cause bien.
Il cause bien avec sa former CP qui est là.
Spoke
Mr.
well with
Saint-Ange.
the former CP who was there, Mr. Saint-Ange.
Mais l'état qui m'a joint avec lui, moi, lui, CP avant, we have a good talk. Quand il met ça ban point devant.
But when I met with him and with the former CP, we had a good talk whereby we put those points forward.
Et so il y a une bataille qui nous avons besoin de faire face avec.
So it was a battle that we had to face.
And you know, when you discuss this together with former CP Saint-Ange and Minister Fonseca, what assurances you got from Minister Fonseca that would help you to carry out your job correctly? What were the assurances that he gave you?
Il y a des gens qui M. Fonseca, il y a des gens qui ont l'équerre pour tout quelque chose et il tient envie prison, even dans ce niveau que la police était et ben les autres entités qui tombent à Bali. So moi pour mon cas dit ici de mon support à cause de ça qui nous besoin c'est des bonnes qui changement qu'il fait à comment si dire comment pour dire nous pour faire changement mais c'est un changement it will take time.
Mr. Fonseca was a person that had a heart for everything, and he wanted the prison to be to the level that it was supposed to be, and as well as all the other entities that falls underneath it. And when we met, we spoke about the weaknesses that existed at the prison.
Et lui-même, il y a des gens qui ont de la force. Il nous dit, moi, nous capables de rester. Mais c'est the approach.
And
he's a man of approach. So il nous dit the approach.
He was someone that was in the force before that, and he always stated to me that these issues are something that we needed to address. But he always stated that it all depends on the approach. He was always a person of approach.
Okay. We'll get back later to this. You answered certain questions from the other commissioners with regards to the knowledge and training that certain officers that were named here. I would like to ask you, who carried out appraisals on all those officers at the prison?
Si je peux get mon niveau, moi, si je peux faire appraisal, je fais appraisal le député.
Considering my level, if I am to conduct appraisal, I will do it on the level of deputies.
Et le ministre pour faire pour moi.
And the minister will do my appraisal.
Et la restant unit.
The rest of the units.
Il prend ça du monde qui en sa unit.
It will be the person that is in charge
of appraisal, lo son ban di monde qui tombe bas son commande.
That unit that will do the appraisal of the individuals that falls under his command under the respective units.
Okay. Now, say for example, we talk about custodial. Yeah, so you have a person, you've got an officer responsible for custodial. He carries out the appraisals of his men.
Yes.
And then what does he do with this appraisal?
Cet appraisal, il gagne un écoutement et nous gagnons une discussion. Par exemple, si on a un écoutement premier, like si custodial, il finit son appraisal premier, il vient écoutement, we sit down together with the HR, so nous cause nous saban appraisal. Et from saban appraisal,
these appraisals are brought to me, for example, for discussion. For example, if the section from custodial is done with the appraisal, they would bring it to me and we would sit down together with the HR to discuss.
Là, nous pour travailler le strength à du monde.
And from there, we will work on the strengths of that individual.
Nous travaillons sur weaknesses.
On the weaknesses.
Après, nous pour get ban opportunities.
And also look at the opportunities
pour lui booster dans la vie.
For that person to move forward in life.
Après nous get ban threat qui n'a pas comme si nous servons de SWAT system.
And then we look at the threats that could have prevented him or prevented him. We use what we call as the SWOT system.
So, having listened to you, can I conclude that the Seychelles prison was one of the exemplary prisons existing in the world? Because everything was fine, everything was done, everything was correct.
Là pour le moment, cause of training, sinon al deban les autres aspects, moi pour dire prison CCL, il y a une prison qui est difficile.
For the moment, I have only talked about training. If we are going to move on other aspects, I will say that the Seychelles prison is a difficult prison.
Okay.
Because of the prison.
Because of the characters that we have in the prison.
Okay, may I ask you, just give us a little understanding of what dynamic security, you spoke about it. Could you just explain to us what dynamic security means in the prison setting?
Dynamic security, il y a qualité sécurité.
It's a type of security
qui en a pour faire avec humain.
That has to do with humans.
Ça veut dire qu'il y a prisonnier avec staff et communiquer.
So that means it is how prisoners and staff communicate.
Comme si il a pareil moi là. Ça y est dynamique.
It's like what we are having now, me and you. This is a dynamic.
Et nous servons ça as une façon pour nous connaître quoi qu'il peut arriver à prison.
And we use that as a means for us to be able to know what is happening on the prison level.
It can be l'intelligence.
It can be intelligence.
Et mon moment pour dire la prison nous a servi de reception committee.
And
comment dynamic security.
Believe that in the prison we can use the reception committee as a dynamic security.
À cause là, moment quand nous recevoir prisonniers, receive them in our prison.
This is the moment that we receive prisoners in our prison.
Et les autres peuvent exit aussi.
And when they are exiting as well,
non, sa communication.
We have that communication.
So shall we say, because I saw that there were so many training related to dynamic security with the guards, shall we say that you were very satisfied with the level of dynamic security training received by the prison guards in the prison?
Pas 100%.
Not 100%.
So was it working fine in the prison?
Il faut prendre le temps.
It would take time.
À cause dynamic security pour prendre le temps de prison, à cause chana ban prison guard qui ont la violence, ils ont une prison, ils sont maltraités, insultés, intimidés.
It would take time because there are prison guards, for example, that throughout their lives in prison has been mistreated, insulted, intimidated.
Pour ça, la pause recommencer à terme communication pour gazer. Il y a quelque chose qui n'est pas facile. Mais seulement l'observation, il montre pour dire la quantité ça ban la haine in between pas incapable de casser. Tu vois beaucoup de prisonniers puis en communication avec gardes prisonniers.
So this approach, I would say that it's not something that would be easy, but from my personal observation, I could see that in time this hatred between the prisoners and the inmates started to fade away, whereby they were starting to have that conversation.
So am I right to say that the existing conflict that was in place was between the guards and the inmates?
Ça tient, oui.
That was one, yes.
Were there others?
Oui, tiens, on a les autres, mais ça tient.
There were others, but that was one.
Okay. CP, I would like to just come directly to you, having heard evidences in the past with people that came here on your personal behavior. Yeah? I heard you speak a lot about discipline and everything that had to be done in the prison. And obviously, as I said, we heard so many testimonies here where people said that you were unapproachable. They couldn't talk to you. You were always swearing at everybody. And it was very difficult to work with you as a CP. Could you just clarify this for us?
Moi, je dis, maman dit bon qui parle servir la gaz obscène.
I would like to say that I am someone that do
Moi,
not
dis mon qui vive pas bon Dieu de la vie tous les jours.
use obscene languages and someone that lives by God's will every day.
Si elle dit mon dit mon zouli à cause qui m'a pour zouli, il besoin de raison à cause moi dit mon qui a Mona, very good certificate, low customer cares.
And if someone say that I used obscene language against him or her, then there must be a reason why. Because
Well trained in regards to customer cares.
Well trained with regards to customer care.
Oui, mon pour lever la voix, à cause si les officiers m'ont donné l'ouvrage pour faire. Il pas pour faire, n'a pas une nécessité à faire mon besoin servir dans gaz obscène avec lui.
Yes, I will raise my voice because if there's a specific duty that an officer did not choose not to do, why will I use obscene language against that individual?
Pour besoin de bannir à cause nous travaillons le feedbacks, nous travaillons les deadlines.
We'd have to ask him why, because we work on feedback, we work on deadlines.
Et moi donne l'opportunité pour faire un survey in regards of my staff qui travaille dans ma commande.
And I gave them the opportunity to do a survey with regards to staff that had previously worked under my command.
Ça ban qui get mon comme ban monstre.
For those who looked at me like I was a monster.
Et pour moi de mon lequel moi pas disant mais monstre pour eux d'accord mon content tout pareil.
For me in my heart, I was never a monster to them because I loved them all the same.
À cause moi si vous êtes officier qui appelle l'école de mon exécutif moi dis comme ça you need to be the role model.
Because for me, if you are an officer that you call yourself an executive, then for me, you should be a role model.
Vous venez travailler des tricots, des savates, sans béret.
You come to work in a shirt, in a flip-flop, sans quoi?
Un béret.
Without a beret, the prisoner's hat.
Est-ce que ça, il fait mon get vilain?
Do this make me look like an ugly individual?
Les temps mon Dieu comme ça pour dire ça que vous pouvez faire against discipline.
When I tell you that what you are doing is against discipline.
Est-ce qu'ils m'ont un bébé?
Am I a monster?
Mon pas quoi, hein?
I
Et ça
don't
même
think
ça
so.
problème qui m'ont gagné avec les autres. C'est les temps mon Dieu comme ça pour dire d'ici il y a quelque chose que vous devez discontinuer.
And that's
Parfait.
the issue that I had with them when I
Et ça
told
les temps
them
qui m'ont dit un monstre.
that
Et au
these
contraire, bien, au
things,
monsieur Tyran pour dire nos prisons, so tu gets tout pareil, les autres get mort à cause du monde qui te voit.
you need to discontinue with these things and to stop with these things, and that's why they started to look at me like I'm the monster. You know very well, Mr. Tyran, because you were at prison when they start to see you that way.
But why would we have many of your officers who came here, okay? Many of them describe you as unapproachable and that you often use obscene language. 1 minute, you often use obscene language with them. Sometimes when you are referring to the inmates, you use obscene language. And sometimes even when you are at a meeting with them, you will bang your hand on the table, be very aggressive towards them.
C'est moi dis autres fait un survey et ça ban dit monde zo besoin venir public vinn dire pour dire moi comme ça.
That's
Pas venir
why-
derrière rideau dire pour dire moi comme ça.
I
Moi pèse autres ban hypocrite si autres dit ça.
I say to conduct a survey to investigate in the matter, and that these individuals should come forward to say these things, not to say it behind the curtain, because I call these actions as hypocrites.
And we even have evidence from testimonies we've received here is that On one occasion, you even aggressed one inmate, physically aggressed one inmate.
Qui façon?
In what way?
You were fighting and kicking.
Mo pas recall.
I do not recall.
Yeah, if you allow me, just to put this what Commissioner Vidot just said. You received a document on the 24th of November 2025. That was a performance appraisal report that was carried out on yourself. Do you remember this report?
Quand ça?
On
When was that?
On the 24th of November 2025. And there were certain aspects that was written into the document, which was a familiarization visit of the 17th of November 2025. There was a visit that was carried out, and I suppose you were present as well.
Yes, I was there.
And then there was a letter that came out as your performance appraisal report on the 24th of November 2025.
Mon pas disant mais gagné appraisal letter dans l'année 2025 à cause mon appraisal letter il devait sortir contre ministre Camille.
I never received any appraisal letter during the year 2025 because my appraisal letter should come from Minister Kami.
Et lequel qui pour faire mon appraisal?
And who will do my appraisal?
Et mon pas disant mais gagné ça appraisal de mon main pour mon cas guetter pour mon cas censurer.
I never received this appraisal in my hand for me to be able to see it.
Et normalement les on a appraisal qui gagne fait aussi besoin là.
And normally when an appraisal is conducted, you also need to be present.
So, mon pas quoi Mr. Camille il fait qualité appraisal comme ça là moi à cause de entrer l'office le 7 novembre.
I do not think that Mr. Kami would do an appraisal like that on for my behalf because he entered into office on the 7th of November.
Et moi qui gagne tiré de l'office immediate effect le 27 novembre.
And I was
Avait
removed
dit 20 jours.
from office, taking immediate
Côté ça
effect
appraisal letter sorti moi chakotawa.
on the 27th of November, meaning only in 20 days. So where did this appraisal came from? I would like to know.
Okay, but this was a letter that was submitted by the Minister of Homeland Security, and it was stamped on the 24th of November 2025, and apparently the recommended action was immediate suspension as the Commissioner of Prisons pending a full and independent investigation.
Appraisal?
An
Yeah,
appraisal?
it was called here. I mean, it came in different folios, and it was called a performance appraisal report.
Ça ban dit mon autres ban hypocrite à cause de pan cri mon dit mon comment pour dire dans sa qualité appraisal lo moi. Les autres insistent pas derrière mon les do dit qualité rapport comme ça lo moi. Puis hypocrite.
Hypocrites, why would they do an appraisal like that on me? Why would they not call me and tell me that there is this type of
Pas
appraisal?
franc à cause moi pas aware of.
They are not frank because I am unaware of that.
Et pas ça lettre qui mon si gagné mon cas donne autres mon lettre.
And that's not the
Lettre mon si
letter.
gagne transfer mon lettre son sub. Il dit moi comme ça pour dire mon transfer. Il pas dit suspension.
That's not
Qui
the
le
letter
gaz mon peut causer la suspension ou bien transfer.
that I got, because I can show you my letter that I got. My letter was a letter with regards to my transfer. The word transfer is used, and this one is talking about suspension. What kind of language are you trying to tell me? Is it transfer or suspension?
Okay, I will allow you to continue asking. I just want to encourage you to not use words like hypocrite. So you because that is a bit harsh for people who are not here.
Sir,
sorry,
excuse
can
me,
I can I finish? Remember, we have to treat everyone with respect, including you. We have done this to other witnesses who had other views about you, and we instructed them to refrain. So if what he is saying is not true, you can just say it's false. It's not true.
But it's an English word. Hypocrite is an English word. And that's the way I can describe those people.
Sorry, assistant.
They're doing things behind your back. How you call them?
Assistant Superintendent.
It's a commission there. Commission, you have to tell the truth.
Assistant Superintendent Jeanette George, I am trying to explain to you that as a commission, we consistently, regardless of who is before us, we consistently remind witnesses to not use derogatory terms when referring to other people who are not here. We have done the same thing to protect you as well in the past, so we don't want you to do that. So I am saying you have to stop using that word. You can describe them in other words, or you can disagree with them, but you cannot call them derogatory terms.
Yeah, but I'm concerned.
Yes, you
I'm
can.
concerned. There's a lot of witnesses has come before the panel there. They describe me like I never heard before.
Like what? What did they say? Which
monster.
I can assure you that nobody used that word, and we would never allow anyone to use that word against you. We have stopped people from describing you in any way that we think demeans your dignity.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, so I would like you to not do that. In fact, I think we are instructing you to refrain from using that word.
What you want me to use when it's come to hypocrite?
You can use any other words to describe your displeasure, your unhappiness with the evidence that has been given, but you may not call them derogatory terms.
I mean, it is permitted for you to say that you disagree with them, whatever the letter states is untrue. That you can say. It's total fabrication. These are lies.
Correct, sir.
So I think let's move on.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to clarify to you, CP, with what Commissioner Vidot said. The issue, it says human rights and professional conduct, the document. Issue was alleged physical assault by commissioner and officer of the facility. And the observations that were given, a prison welfare officer reported witnessing the commissioner and a guard physically assaulting an inmate. She intervened to stop the assault. That means the prison welfare officer. She tried to assault, and the standards that was being violated at that time was the Constitution Article 16, right to dignity of the UN standard. So this was what Commissioner Vidot was trying to bring forward to show that, you know, there was a lot of allegations that were brought against you, which obviously you are denying that those things
untrue
will never happen. Okay, but then.
But
So,
early on, when I asked you that question, you said you could not remember that incident happening.
Yes, sir.
You can't remember.
It's untrue.
You didn't say it's untrue.
Now I'm saying it's untrue.
Okay.
So, Commissioner.
So, wait, I think you're still asking questions. Let's.
No. He can continue to ask the question.
So, CP, what I would say now. So, would you loudly say that the welfare officer was saying a lie?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Anyway, other officers have mentioned the same thing.
Yes.
So they will all be lying.
Yes, they are lying.
And what would be the motivation for such a lie?
I will tell you later.
Why not now?
Because when I finish talking about the riot, you will understand why.
No. That incident of assault on one inmate, actually it happened in a room which normally is used by lawyers there. And that happened before the incident that happened on the 5th and the 6th of December. So there's no correlation between the two.
Yeah, but it's untrue. It's untrue. That's the reason you need to go back and ask those questions to those people once again, because my answer remains as is untrue.
Anyway, at the end of the day, we'll have to evaluate your
Yes.
version and their version,
Yes.
which one we believe
Yes.
is more correct.
And I know that there's members of the executive that is behind all those suffering that I've been through to the prison. I will mention the name later.
Okay, so I would like us to take a break, but maybe before we do that,
I just finish mine.
oh, okay.
Yeah. CP, when you took office, obviously there was a handing over procedure that took place between yourself and CP Setange.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in your testimony just now, you mentioned, and I think I heard in one of the topic conversation that you made on television, talking about prison uniforms.
Yes, sir.
In the prison. Did you, and you just said that there was a lack of prison, there was no uniforms inside the prison, and did you ask Mr. Setange why were there no uniforms in the prison, that is on the prison guards and even the inmates?
Laisse-moi corriger avant de répondre à sa question. On dit prisonnier participer mettre l'uniforme et garde participer mettre l'uniforme.
Let me correct you before I answer that
Tu n'as pas
question.
à faire n'a pas ou bien tu n'as pas ou bien tu en as.
I said that prisoners as well as prison officers were not wearing uniforms. I did not say anything about there was no uniforms.
Tu en as uniforme.
There was uniforms.
Autres qui participent mettre ou bien autres qui participent distribuer pour faire mettre.
They were not wearing it or distributing them to wear.
So you are saying that the prison authorities were not handing uniforms to the inmates.
On m'a dit net comme ça. À
For
cause
them
de
to
mon
wear.
venu, tu n'as pas prisonnier d'un uniforme. On pas ni même connaît qui uniforme autres tu servi.
I would think it was like that because when I came, the prisoners were not wearing uniforms. I did not even know what type of uniforms they were using.
Et après qui m'ont questionné à cause qu'ils ont pas permettre uniforme,
And
m'ont
after-
apprendre qui tient uniforme, et paye uniforme tient dans des containers et m'ont guetté m'ont tient et paye uniforme des containers. Après tu salé qui m'ont besoin forme intime réhabilitation pour faire continuellement coup d'uniforme pour prisonniers.
And after asking why were they not wearing uniforms, that's when I found out that there was some uniforms in a container, and I went and found that those uniforms in the container, and that's when I had a rehabilitation committee sort of formed in place for them to be able to sew those uniforms that were supposed to be
But
worn
what-
by prison.
On the
prisoners.
handing over, what did Commissioner Saint-Ange say about obviously you would have asked him, why are the prisoners not in uniform? And you even spent 5 months at the prison prior to you being, so what did Commissioner Saint-Ange say about the uniform business?
Lui-même, il a l'état monsieur une question il plus ou moins mettre l'emphase avec maman pour faire ça, man prisonnier retourne dans son uniforme.
When I asked him that question, he more or less emphasized on the officers to have the other officers to come to work wearing their uniforms.
Il parti deny n'a pas uniforme.
He did not
This
deny.
the way pour faire les autres retourner back dans son uniforme. Peut-être c'est difficile pour lui.
He did not deny not having uniform. It's just about the way or means to have the officers starting to come wearing their uniforms. That was difficult for him.
So when you took over, did you manage to issue uniforms to the inmates, and the inmates started to use uniforms?
Right, sir. Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to just finish on the regulations issue. Then we can take a short break. In your knowledge, who is responsible for making prisons regulations?
Prison regulation, momazineti bandi moun qui travaille de prison, éclaide.
I would think that it's the people that works in the prison with the help.
Community, un comité qui inclut prison officers.
With the help of a committee that includes prison officers.
Et du monde de loi.
And people that studied law.
Et même prison board.
And even the prison board.
Through minister, vous êtes capable de donner votre point de vue,
through the minister, they can give their inputs, their point of view.
I still need you to help me understand who has the authority to make regulations, because you've indicated a lot of people there.
Et pas supposé involver une quantité de monde. Pour faire régulation en prison, il y a besoin de monde qui a connaissance.
It's not supposed to involve a lot of individuals to make a regulation for the prison. There needs to have, we need to have people that has knowledge, a lot of knowledge.
So that's the process of developing the regulations, the consultations and so forth.
Yes.
You are correct, but who makes them?
Normalement, mon papa connaît. Ça est quelqu'un fait.
Normally, I would not know who made these ones.
I'm asking that question because first you were this commissioner of prisons, and you were the one responsible for training your guards to understand their duties, and their duties are in the law. And you also said you wrote to the Attorney General to get the regulations done. But you didn't. But then you are saying you may not know who is responsible for making the regulation.
No, I don't know.
You don't know. But do you think you should know?
Yes, for sure.
So why do you not know?
That's the reason I say that maybe those people that must know about prison. Cannot
take someone that's a laborer that works to remove.
Sorry, can you repeat
from
that?
The big tuna.
Can you repeat that? I
cannot take someone that works as a laborer, for example, someone that works as a docker at the tuna boat there, to have them to come and make the regulation.
True.
You need to have someone in the respective field.
Yeah, but if you are appointed to head the prisons as the commissioner, you are expected to know who is responsible for making the regulations.
Mais c'est normalement, l'État m'a questionné, il supposé l'aide avec Aegis Office, avec ben lawyers,
But when I questioned
qui supposé aider pour faire.
About it, it's supposed to be the people from the AG's office as well as lawyers who is supposed to be giving out the helping hand in creating the regulations.
Okay, so the regulations are supposed to be made by the minister. That's what the Prisons Act says.
Il supposé, mais c'est après qui normalement emmène contre ministre.
It's supposed, but it's afterwards that they bring it to the minister.
Sorry,
But it's
you are
not
now
like that. It's
speaking
not being done
together.
that way.
Can we start?
It's supposed to, and you are supposed to bring it afterwards to the minister, but it's not being done in that manner.
Yeah, no, but Assistant Superintendent, you said you don't know. So I'm now... Yeah, but no...
I'm presuming.
Okay, you are presuming. I'm informing you what is in section 46 of the law that regulated your work. It says it is the minister who makes the regulations. So can you hold on? It is the minister who has the authority to make the regulations. So when you so the first challenge, of course, is that you said you are not sure, right? So that's a challenge, because if you are the leader of the prisons, the expectation is at a minimum you know who is supposed to make the regulations. So when you know who is supposed to make the regulation and you need the regulations to be made, you know who to go to. So when you said you wrote to the Attorney General's office, right? Don't you think you were supposed to write to the minister?
Mais c'est moi, le ministre, il y a ici là-dedans, mon capot assuré, à zone qu'ils ont gagné ça l'information avec CIA lui.
But I would think that the minister is CC'd in those mails. I am not too sure, but I know that you will get these informations from CIA.
Okay, no,
Et ça, il y a quelque chose qui m'ont pas hérité là, qui m'ont pas gagné des questions là.
And this is QP.
Hérité.
This is something that I am inheriting now and being asked questions about.
Because this is since 1991.
Can I and I totally understand. I totally understand what you are saying. I am simply asking to test your evidence. Right? Your evidence is you wrote to the Attorney General. So in fact, the first piece of your evidence is you trained guards and you were satisfied that they know their duties. And I said, okay, let's test that. Right? Beginning with you informing us about the legal framework that existed at the time, right? And we have established that the document you are calling regulations is not law, right? That's the first problem. It's not necessarily your problem, but it's a problem. Let's accept that there's a problem.
Yes, it's a problem.
Then number two, you said you are not sure who is responsible for making regulations, right? Then I said that's a problem, because as the head of prisons, you are supposed to know. Because when you know who is responsible for making regulations, you then approach that person formally, right? Then the problem number three is you said, no, you CC'd the minister, which means you copied the minister in your communications to the Attorney General's office, correct?
Yes.
Right, but that is, when you copy someone, you are giving them information. Perhaps it was supposed to be the other way around. You are supposed to write to the minister. Commissioner Tihant asked you, who do you report to? But that aside, the law you are given to implement as CP says the minister makes these regulations. So the correct thing to have done is to write to the minister and say, Minister, for years I'm inheriting a problem here. For years there is this document which is titled regulations, but it's not law. But the Prisons Act is there. It says you have a duty to make regulations. Then the minister would trigger the process, which I think involves the Attorney General. But your first port of call in terms of your engagements should have been the minister. That's what I'm saying.
Mon pas trop assuré là, mais seulement there's something to do avec ministère, avec AG's office, pas aucun pas encore.
I'm not sure about this, but I know that there's something to do with the minister and the AG's office and nowhere else.
Let me read.
Now I know.
I'm not
Mais seulement il y en a pour faire avec le ministère, avec AG's office. Si le ministère te dit que nous comme ça lié avec AG's office, ou bien si mon pas connaît, mais seulement mon connaît pour dire the involvement is minister avec AG's office.
I know that it is between the minister and the AG's office if the minister told us to liaise with the AG's office, for example, but I do know that the involvement is between the two.
And I take that, and I don't want us to be unfair on you. I recognize that you are saying you took some steps to resolve a problem that you inherited. But I think you should also accept the responsibility that you did not understand the basic legal framework that you were supposed to know. That's the point I'm trying to make. And without understanding that legal framework, it may then become difficult to then go and teach others how to follow the law. Why? Because these duties that you are talking about are not duties that come from anywhere else. They have to come from the Prisons Act.
Yes, this I know.
Right. And there are areas where the Prisons Act is very clear on what needs to be done, and we will get there later. But the regulations are important because they break down some of the duties into details to clarify. So again, I'm saying we want to be fair to you that you took action. You took action to address a historical problem. But also accept the responsibility that the action you took was action that you took without fully understanding what the law says.
Mais seulement les faits restés pour dire ministère, il y en a un knowledge de sa régulation. Et quelque chose qui m'a pas trop assuré si ministère tu fais nous lier avec AG's office, this is ça bout de la coup de mon petit pas trop maziner.
But what I am sure of is that the minister had knowledge about the regulations. What I am not sure about is whether or not he told us to liaise with the AG's office. This I am unsure.
Can you repeat that?
What I am sure of is that the minister has knowledge of the regulation. What I am not sure of is where the liaising part between the AG's office is the part that I am not quite sure about. But I know that the minister do have knowledge of regulations.
Yeah. So let me just read then so that you can be sure of what we are talking about. So Section 46 of the Prisons Act says, the minister may make regulations for carrying into effect the purposes and provisions of this act without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing, and may make regulations for matters which by this act are required or permitted to be prescribed or which are necessary. Blah, blah. The rest is not important. The point I'm trying to make is that it is the minister who has the authority. But you are not prevented from taking the initiative to say, I am the one who is managing the prison on a daily basis. Right? We need to have regulations, and therefore the first thing to do is to engage the minister. Then the minister will take it from there.
Mais maman Mazina vous dit ministre il engage là il connaît.
I would think that the minister is engaged on the issue and that he's aware, he knows.
Yeah, but you were not aware. That's the point. Well, the point I'm trying to make is that there are certain basic things here that you were expected to know which you did not know. And I think we should accept that. There are also historical problems that you inherited that are not necessarily your fault, and you took steps to try and resolve them. and we should acknowledge that. So what I'm saying is we should not just say this was a historical problem, and then we also don't acknowledge that you yourself, when you were appointed into this position, there are certain things that you were expected to know, but you did not know.
Yeah, mon pas c'est maman connaît dans mon esprit mon connaît pour dire si mon temps ba ministre n'importe quoi il besoin refer avec ministre.
Yes, I
il besoin refer avec ministre.
Really recall, but I know in my mind that since I fall under the minister, everything that will have to be done will have to be referred to the minister.
Et whatever qui n'arrive avec history, mon papa prend responsabilité.
And whatever has happened with regards to history, I am not taking responsibility for that.
That's exactly what he's telling you. You shouldn't take responsibility.
Yes.
We will not allow you to be...
Yes, because it's in 1991.
Exactly what
Yes.
The chairperson is telling you.
Okay, I think, do you have any...
Just 1 minute,
Yeah.
I want to correct something. I said that nobody called you a monster, but I remember one inmate who was a witness.
I know this inmate
No,
called me a monster.
sorry.
I know.
Because I said nobody did, but I remember now. But we did ask him to refrain.
I'm not a monster.
No. What I'm saying is
If
that...
I am a monster,
No.
my family love me as the great monster at home.
No,
because
I'm just
make
correcting
them
myself.
Smile, I make them happy.
I'm correcting myself because I said nobody. Yeah. I said that somebody did, but we corrected him and we asked him not to.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so I think let's take a 10-minute break. Then we are back at 12 noon. Then we continue with the witness. They normally tell us to remain seated until they switch off. Okay.